Let's say you go bird watching in October and you see some ducks. They they look, well, kind of a brown with, some mottled colors in them. And you've been seeing mallards all throughout the summer. And all throughout the summer, the male and female mallards have looked the same. And they've kind of been this drab brown color. And mallards being a common duck, maybe you think that, these are just simply the common mallard. Let me go on and bird watch elsewhere. However, there might be something interesting that you might see. And so you might take a few minutes to look at every duck and see if there was something that might surprise you. So, for example, you might notice that these ducks are a little smaller than mallards. And if you look very carefully, you might notice that in front of the bills, there is an off-white area. These are blue-winged teals. Now, they are not quite as obvious as they are in spring when the males have a slate gray head and a bright white facial crescent. But nevertheless, this is a neat bird to see. When they fly, you will notice a telltale light blue patch on their forewings. So that might be something to notice when ducks start flying. Or you might want to take a picture of a group of ducks which begins flying so you could study them afterwards and maybe note an interesting duck in the middle of a bunch of more common ducks. Blue-winged teals are shy birds, and they might often hide in aquatic vegetation as they feed on aquatic plants and invertebrates, so you might not see them until they begin to fly. Some of the blue-winged teals passing through our area may be heading to the southeast coast of the United States, but others will overwinter in either the Caribbean or even northern South America. This is farther south than most dabbling ducks go. If you look closely at these blue-winged teals, you can see just a hint of the blue forewing showing and a hint of the green speculum. No other bird would have that combination and look as they do. These ducks here might also have missed your attention. They might seem to be small mallards. But by this time of the year, the mallard nestlings which hatch this year, they are full grown. And so if you see something smaller than a mallard, it is a different species of duck. These green-winged teals are the smallest species of dabbling duck in North America, so their size could be a tip-off. They are also the most likely to feed in mudflats among the ducks, so where you see them might be a tip-off. Now, if their wings are folded, you might not see any other distinguishing features, but if they were to spread their wings, you might see the hint of a green speculum, which is where they get their name. Certainly when they fly, once again, if you notice very quickly as birds fly over, or if you take a picture, you might notice the green speculum and be able to identify them as green-winged teals. Green-winged teals may stay in our area through December, and by that time many of the males will be developing their breeding plumage. If you look closely at this one, you can see the reddish brown of the head is already beginning to molt in. This duck is the size of a mallard, unlike the two species of teal. However, its coloration is different. This is a northern pintail. It lacks the more obvious coloration that you will see in breeding males in the spring, but nevertheless, this is an interesting duck that you would have to look closely in order to identify. Wood ducks have been breeding in our area, but once again, the males lack the brilliant plumage that they will have in breeding season. They are a little smaller than mallards, and if you look closely, you might notice males where the breeding plumage is starting to molt in. And even though mallards are common, nevertheless you might notice some interesting features of them, such as the beginning of the breeding plumage coming in males. Some males may have a fully green head, where some other males are slowly molting their head in. This is interesting to note that not all duck species will acquire their breeding plumage at the same time, nor will all individuals in a population, and perhaps this is related to age, with older males getting their breeding plumage first, or healthier males, or males which are making more testosterone. And thus, those males which get the metallic green heads first would then have an advantage in attracting females with whom they will mate for the upcoming season. So, at all times of the year, especially during migrations, you might see something interesting if you take an extra second and look at every bird that you see.